Good evening. We'll call the Hawarden, Iowa City Council to order on Wednesday, April the 10th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. All present are staff and council other than Jacob Stoner, our financial director, has the evening off. It probably won't be as quick as last meeting, and my thanks to Travis for taking care of business last week, or last month, the last meeting, and thanks for that, for being pro tem there. First, the standard agenda item, approval of the March 27th, 2019 City Council meeting minutes. They've been in your packet.
So moved.
Been moved by John. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jen. Further questions or clarifications? All in favor then of the March 27th City Council meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Next is approval of the April 10th, 2019 claims for payment. Start to my right, please, with Tim for questions. None. Okay, Travis, any questions?
None, thank you.
John?
None, thanks.
Jen?
None.
Rob, any questions?
No questions.
Hearing no questions, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the claims for payment.
So moved.
Moved by Jen. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Rob. All in favor then of approval of the April 10th, 2019 claims for payment, say aye.
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 Those opposed?
Abstain.
Passes 4 positive, 1 abstention, please. Open business from the community. All right, we'll move on then to the mayor's report. The first 3 items are dealing with the youth of our community, which is very important. I was able to be honored to be part of the programming last evening at the community center. And this is a proclamation for the Week of the Young Child. And whereas the We Care and Kittyland Preschool, Child Development Center, West Sioux Preschool, West Sioux Daycare, and Kids of the Kingdom, in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children, are celebrating the Week of the Young Child, which is April 8th to the 12th. Whereas these organizations are working to improve early learning opportunities, including early literacy programs that can provide a foundation of learning for children in Hawarden and Ireton. And whereas teachers and others who make a difference in the lives of young children in Hawarden and Ireton deserve thanks and recognition. Whereas public policies that support early learning for all young children are crucial to young children's futures, I hereby proclaim April 8th to the 12th as the Week of the Young Child. But more importantly, I encourage all citizens to work to make a good investment in the early childhood. Our thanks to those folks that work with our youth in that regard, and all of the teachers. Also had an opportunity, Corey and I and Mr. Gregg from the school board and Scott Vreeman to be with the 8th graders at West Sioux the other day for a luncheon. And they have been working with Cheryl Bunsma from Compass Point. Cheryl's a certified prevention specialist. And they've been talking about Alcohol Awareness Month for April of 2019. I won't read this whole proclamation, but again, in this proclamation, as I read to the 8th graders, the last sentences I think are very important. It says, I also call upon all citizens, parents, governmental agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, hospitals, schools in Hawarden to support efforts that will provide early education about alcoholism and addiction and increase support for individuals and families coping with alcoholism. Through these efforts together, we can provide hope for today and hope for tomorrow for those in our community who are facing challenges with the use of alcohol. Myself, Corey, Cheryl, and Mr. Kramer, the West Sioux superintendent, all signed this proclamation. And again, like all proclamations, it calls on citizenry to be important in lives of others. We mourn the passing of Ricardo Rodriguez this week. Ricardo gave much of his energy and time with the youth soccer program here in Hawarden, instilling in the young people the need to treat others with kindness and respect. Our prayers and our thoughts are with his wife, Arminda, 6 children, and other family members. I found this quote by Jennifer Palka, which I think is very fitting in remembering our friend Ricardo. When one neighbor helps another, we strengthen our communities. God bless Ricardo and his family in their passing. And lastly, for the mayor's report tonight, if and when the weather ever starts to get better, I'd like everyone to look around and start to get our residences and businesses started to get cleaned up again from the winter weather. That ends my mayor's report, and we'll move on then to staff reports, if we may. And Travis, we'll start with you, please.
If you've noticed, works has begun on the sidewalk of the old City Hall, which is located north of the Pizza Ranch. You'll notice that one section by the crosswalk will not be completed at this time. That'll be with our downtown lighting and pavement project. And to update you on that project, bids are going out tomorrow, and they'll be opened May 2nd, and hopefully we'll be able to approve one May 10th meeting. So it's looking like late summer. Should be ready to go. Also, I'd like to mention with the possible snow coming that we will not be able to plow on the side streets. We'll just have to stick to the hard roads, 16th, Central, Main Street. So hopefully we just get rain.
Great. I think that's great news about getting the bids out on Central Avenue. That'll be in my mind, I think also in council and staff's minds, a great improvement on Central Avenue at this point. Thank you. Mike?
Over the next couple of weeks, we'll be interviewing candidates for the economic or community development position. Right now, it's Mayor Porter, Councilpersons Bergsma and Olson, and I will be in the interviews. If anybody has any other ideas on that, please let me know. I have sent all the information on the candidates we'll be interviewing, as well as all the candidates to each of you via email. So if you see anybody else in there that you feel that we should interview, please let us know. The community visioning groups, many of them are still meeting and continue to meet. We've even had a couple of them apply for grants for the Hawarden Community Foundation, so I find that encouraging that people are staying engaged from that and are willing to serve our community in that capacity by giving up their time and their ideas. Swimming season and summer rec are coming up. We have all our lifeguards are hired for the swimming pool, as well as summer rec. So they're all gearing up, getting ready, things ready to go. They'll be filling the pool the first week of May. So hopefully that all goes well with filling it, and everything stays together for another year. So, but the help situation is vastly improved. Most of them from last year are coming back. So, and then on Jacob is at IMFOA, the Iowa Municipal Finance Officers Association meeting in Des Moines, which starts today and runs through Friday. So,
Question in regard to summer rec. If my children are younger, how would I get them registered, and when would that time be?
they're taking registrations now through the school, through the city offices. There's forms on our city website as well to print off and sign them up and bring them in. There are fees for the baseball, softball, and I believe golf. So,
which then reminds me to another thought. Have there, at some point, if I remember right, I think there were some people that were willing to help out if there were young people that wanted to be a part of the programming but maybe did not have the assets to be a part. Is that
on that same form, they're asking for any parents that want to help out to sign up as well, or anybody that wants to volunteer their time to help the kids, especially the younger kids, the kindergarten and first graders that are just starting out. They need some extra help. So any help, just let us know and we'll get you in touch. Jesse Strong will be heading up our summer rec this year.
okay? Taken over for
He
Karen?
took over last year for Karen, and so
Transition
he even
nicely.
wanted to come back again this year. So
That's great. We thank them for that. Mr. Pickner, anything from the city attorney?
No, I don't have anything.
Perfect, I guess. Thank you. Corey, please.
Just doing our rounds for nuisance abatement. I think so far we've had 66 or 67 original notices hand-delivered to different places around. Much like you're encouraging people to get out and get stuff cleaned up, we're trying to get ahead of the ball as well with the citywide cleanup coming on, giving people plenty of notice, reminding them when that cleanup is. And I think out of the 60-some that we've had, we're well over 50% of that already are in compliance with it. So a lot of it's just lack of knowledge. So we're out there trying to help them out and let them know what's going on. The other thing too is we're working with everybody. We understand that the weather's not the most cooperative right now. So with any of those notices and stuff, all you got to do is give us a call or show us that you're, at least putting forth an effort to do things the right way, and we're more than happy to work with you.
Thanks, Corey, and I think that's important for people to hear that we want it to be enforced, but we're working with it.
Right.
Very good. Any comments from council members or question of staff members from council this evening?
I was just wondering about the intersection right at Central and 10th. Are we doing that, or is that state road that we don't, when we resurface the Central?
We won't be doing, that's a state highway. We won't be resurfacing that. We'll start right at the edge of 10th and do the 3 blocks.
And have they ever talked about what their plans are for?
It's not really right on their radar yet. We did talk to DOT when we met with them on the walking trail, and it didn't sound like it was any time real soon.
It's not within the 5-year plan,
That's what I was wondering.
but it's on the radar.
So maybe 10-year plan?
How far out does that radar go, right? Well, thanks for having a conversation with them to keep them engaged, keep them understanding. Any other questions from council members? Hearing none, we'll move on then to other agenda items. Jason Pullman, please. Hospital update, Hawarden Regional Healthcare.
Good evening. Just want to give you a couple updates. I just want to talk about a little bit about our urgent care. That's been going over very well in the last 3 months that we've been operating it. We've had anywhere from 96 to 102 patients a month walk through the doors and be seen as an urgent care individual. We are seeing a drastic reduction in our emergency room visits, which is to be expected, and it's a more economical way for people to get care instead of going to the emergency room, and that's more expensive. So that's a really good thing. And we've been seeing people that are coming that normally don't come to our organization for urgent care, which gives us exposure, and so that's really a good thing too. The new construction, of course, is done. We have the side hill by the emergency room entrance, which is, for the better words, is a weed-infested problem. And so the board yesterday approved a terrace approach towards that side hill, and our concern is there's really very little dirt holding that concrete up, and if we have an ambulance sit there and the concrete gives away, we could have an ambulance roll down the hill and we could have a real big issue there. So the board has decided to do a 3-terrace approach there. That'll be happening this spring. So that'll spruce that area up and make it look a lot more attractive. So that was probably the sore spot of our organization. So we're going to get that taken care of. We're preparing for Hospital Week. That's in May, and then so there'll be some activities associated with that. And then we just hired a new speech therapist. So we used to have a contracted speech therapist that came from Del Rapids, and so we finally hired actually a full-time speech therapist. So that'll be good. We're also doing cardiac stress testing with Dr. Stanton out of Sanford, and that's been going over very well. We've done quite a few stress tests in the last couple months. That's good. Dr. Stokesbury will be starting our new knee scope operation. We have our first patient that will be in April. So that's really exciting. We're getting jazzed up for that. And then our surgery numbers continue to grow, which is encouraging, and that's Dr. Locker and Dr. Nykamp that are coming over, and those things continue to grow, which is very good for our organization. We did lose an ophthalmologist. Dr. White has decided to retire, and then we're also looking for ears, nose, and throat provider, because we know that we have a huge need in the area. And so we've called pretty much every ear, nose, and throat around, and of course, they're all busy, so, and they don't want to drive, 40 miles to come see us. So, but we're still trying to get somebody in here to service our younger population too. And then something that's kind of exciting for me is this summer that the Employee Engagement Committee is trying to sponsor putting up a U.S. flag on our campus. We believe that we've never had one before, and I believe it's important. And so the employees are sponsoring it, and we'll be paying it through donation funds that they raise throughout the year to put up a flag on our campus. So those are just some of the updates that we're working on. Any questions?
Questions?
Good updates.
Great updates, you bet.
All right.
Thank you, and thank your board members and staff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks for being with us. Agenda item number 4 is the approval of the 2019 Hawarden Natural Gas System Operating and Maintenance Plan. Travis, any comments with that?
It's a plan that's been in place for years. It's how we operate and maintain our natural gas pipeline system. And every year there's updates to that. Things change, new laws are enacted that we need to follow. So the IMU updates it for us and for many gas systems in the state. And we just adopt those changes every year and keep rolling forward. So
And then how does that get disseminated to the employees?
we each have a manual, and every year we either add pages or it's the whole thing. So.
Is there a motion or other questions of Travis? Okay. A motion to approve the 2019 Hayward Natural Gas System Operating and Maintenance Plan.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Jen, moved by John. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Obviously, agenda item number 5 follows that. This would be the approval of the 2019 Natural Gas System Emergency Plan and Procedures. Kind of the same thing.
Yes, it used to be all in one. The emergency plan was in the O&M, but they've recently made them into 2 sections, I believe, so it's easier to update one and maybe not the other.
Sure.
But there were changes in both this year, so we need to adopt both plans.
Okay, is there a motion for that approval?
So moved.
Moved by Rob. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jen. All in favor of the approval of the 2019 Hayward Natural Gas System Emergency Plan and Procedures, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hopefully we'll never need to use them. We'd like to set a public hearing for the CDGB Hawarden Housing Rehab Grant Program for Wednesday, April the 24th, 2019. Mike, I know you've given us background. Maybe give the community a little background with that, please.
This is basically the housing rehab grant that we've received 2 different times. It's about a $250,000 grant to fix up homes in the area. We've done, I think it's closer to 25, but at least 20 homes in Hawarden since 2009 through this grant. Last year we applied for it and were not selected. So we want to throw our hat in the ring again this year to see if we can. We have to do a windshield study. We have to have a certain section of town, and then we have to have people within that section that are interested that send us in forms that they'd be interested in doing it. Provides up to $24,999 per home to be put into it. If your repairs or anything that are beyond that number, you have the option to add to that to complete the repairs. It's kind of an all or none deal on your part. So if they say you need $30,000 worth, you either come up with the other 5 or you pull your name from the grant. So it's been very good for our community. We all know that we have older housing stock that is not going away, and if we can get them improved, it's a great way to do it.
Is there a motion to set the public hearing for Wednesday, April the 24th?
So moved.
Moved by Tim. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Thank you. That passes 5-0. An important grant there. Consideration for the sale of the city lot on 704 Avenue K. Not up there, just in here.
I've got the map. This is a lot that we acquired a few years back through kind of a nuisance abatement or abandoned home process. We got some money invested into it. As I have in my memo, it was $3,500 to tear it down. There were some storage fees, and then that does not include legal fees and stuff like that we had on it. But had somebody approach us that wanted to build a house on this lot, and they're interested in buying it. So we want to make sure that the city council is in favor of selling it at this point, and if they have a price point they want to be at. If we could recoup our $4,000, we wouldn't have to mow it, upkeep it, take care of it. Right now, that's what we're doing to it. We get it back on the tax rolls and get a house built on it would be probably a win-win for all of us, so.
Be a great location, right next to the rec trail, and
Yeah.
kind of quiet, run it back there. Any thoughts from council?
Good idea.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll come back with the next meeting with setting a public hearing for the second meeting, or the first meeting in May, so.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you to that family or individual that's interested in getting that going. Next three agenda items are, pardon me, just approval of the fiscal sponsorships for, number 8 is for the Hawarden Golf Board for Hawarden Community Foundation grant request.
Once again, just like the last meeting, we got to do fiscal sponsorship since these aren't official 50C3 groups. So what they do is they run their funds through the city. So the first one, the golf course is looking to do some clubhouse improvements and want to apply to the Hawarden Community Foundation for that.
Is there a motion for that approval?
So moved.
Moved by Jen. Is there a second? Seconded by Travis.
Tim.
Excuse me, Tim.
Or Travis. I don't care.
He'll get the next one. Tim, put Tim down. All in favor of the fiscal sponsorship for Hawarden Golf Course, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, 5-0. Fiscal responsible for Hawarden Farmers Market, they're requesting to do some, obviously, updates there.
Same kind of thing. They just want to create some things that would make them stand out more and maybe attract more people to their farmers market.
So moved.
Thank you, Travis.
Second.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Travis for the motion, Tim for the second. All in favor of that fiscal sponsorship, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Lastly, fiscal sponsorship for the Hawarden Community Dinner.
And this, they're just looking to update some of their equipment that they serve their food out of.
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor of that fiscal sponsorship, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay. Lastly, consent agenda from Sportsman's for a liquor license for April the 27th, and Paradise Bar for an 8-month Class C liquor license. Why is it an 8-month?
During 2 months in the winter, they're not open, so you can get an 8-month license,
Okay.
and that's what they choose to do.
Okay, I just, okay.
So moved.
Second.
Wow, you do want to get out of here. This has been moved by Travis, seconded by Tim, just so you have that, Travis, and I've got it. So all in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Our next regular city council meeting will be April the 24th. I thank all of you folks as council members for your time and energy. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Rob, seconded by John. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thanks for not opposing. We're adjourned.